Below the surface of our oceans, there is a world we were never meant to see. A realm where sunlight dies completely, where life takes on forms that shouldn't be possible, where the rules of biology don't just bend, they break entirely. We've sent rovers to Mars, we've mapped distant galaxies, but the deep ocean, we've explored less than 5% of it. We know more about the surface of the Moon than we do about what lives 6,000 feet beneath our own oceans. What we have found down there, the creatures, the ecosystems, the adaptations, should not exist. And yet, they do. This is what lives in the dark. At the surface, the ocean makes sense. Sunlight fuels plankton blooms, which feed fish, which feed entire food chains stretching from coral reefs to great whales. Life here is visible, familiar, comprehensible. But drop below 200 meters, and that light begins to fade. We are entering the twilight zone, a vast belt of ocean stretching down to a full kilometer deep. Here, the sun's rays are too weak for photosynthesis. The forests of plankton vanish. There are no plants, no green energy, only the slow, silent snowfall of particles drifting downward from above, tiny fragments of waste and the remains of the dead. Scientists call it marine snow. To the creatures that live here, it is life itself. And where there is food, there is life. But not life as we know it. The animals of the Twilight Zone have evolved into some of the strangest forms on Earth. Many are transparent, their bodies like living glass. The glass squid drifts with its organs barely visible, a ghost against the dim blue. The glass octopus is almost completely invisible, its eyes the only solid feature in an otherwise see-through body. Why so many species take on transparency here is still a mystery. It may be camouflage, a way to vanish in the faintest light, or perhaps a way to conserve energy in a world where every pigment costs more than it gives back. Others choose the opposite strategy, not invisibility, but light. In the gloom, some creatures create their own glow through a chemical reaction known as bioluminescence. To us, it looks dazzling, flashing dots, glowing patterns, entire bodies flickering like lanterns. But down here, light is not decoration. Light is survival. Some use it to lure prey, some to find a mate, and some, and this is where it gets truly strange, use it to disappear. This is called counter-illumination. From below, a predator can spot a dark silhouette against the faint shimmer above. To erase that silhouette, animals like the firefly squid cover their bellies with light-producing organs and adjust the brightness to perfectly match the glow from the surface above them. They use light to vanish into light. Other species play stranger games still. The bloody belly cone jelly glows deep red. But down here, red light never penetrates from the surface, making the jelly appear completely black to anything watching from below. Inside its stomach, bioluminescent prey is sealed away, concealed from predators that might otherwise detect its glow through the jelly's body. In a world defined entirely by light, or the lack of it, every adaptation revolves around one question: who can be seen and who cannot? But the Twilight Zone holds more than tricks of light. It hosts one of the ocean's greatest spectacles, one that remained completely hidden from science until World War II. Each night, as darkness falls above, billions of creatures rise from the depths. Lanternfish, squid, jellies, an entire army of the deep, climbing toward the surface to feed on plankton under cover of darkness. At dawn, they sink back down, vanishing into the gloom. This is called the Deal Vertical Migration. It is the largest synchronized migration on Earth, greater in numbers than all herds, all flocks, all swarms combined. And yet, no one knew it existed until naval sonar operators began detecting a mysterious false seabed during the Second World War. A dense layer that rose every night and sank every morning. They had no explanation for it. It wasn't the ocean floor at all. It was life. An entire invisible world moving as one. The Twilight Zone is where the familiar rules begin to bend, where transparency is armor, where light is used to hide, where billions of animals rise and fall in a rhythm older than humanity itself. It is the threshold of the deep, the first layer of a world we still cannot fully explain. Past 1 kilometer, all sunlight disappears entirely. We have reached the Midnight Zone, a realm stretching down to 4,000 meters. Here, there is no dawn, no dusk, only endless, permanent night. Temperatures hover just above freezing. Pressure runs hundreds of times greater than at the surface. To a human body, it would be instantly, catastrophically fatal. And yet, it is here that evolution becomes most creative. Take the dragonfish. Unlike almost every other creature in the deep, it can produce red bioluminescence. To most eyes down here, red light is completely invisible, which makes the dragonfish's glow a private searchlight. It illuminates prey without revealing itself. Even stranger, its own eyes are specially adapted to detect this hidden color. It has effectively invented a secret wavelength seen only by itself. Other predators here are masters of disappearance through a different method. Some fish are cloaked in ultra-black skin, so efficient at absorbing light that it reflects less than 0.5% of what touches it. Even when a submarine spotlight hits them directly, they nearly vanish. Not because they move, not because they flee, simply because their skin refuses to reflect light back. And then there are the anglerfish, perhaps the strangest hunters in the deep. The female dangles a luminous lure directly in front of her mouth, drawing in unsuspecting prey that mistake it for something worth investigating. But her greatest mystery lies not in hunting, it lies in reproduction. Males are born tiny, weak, and nearly helpless. Their only purpose is to find a female, a nearly impossible task in the vast, lightless ocean. When a male finally does locate one, he latches onto her with specialized jaws and begins fusing his body into hers. His organs wither, his eyes degrade, his entire anatomy dissolves away until he is little more than a permanent reproductive appendage, nourished by her blood, fused into her flesh, gone as an individual entirely. It is one of the most extreme forms of sexual adaptation known in the animal kingdom. Not every animal here is a hunter. Some are opportunists, scavengers waiting for the fall of food from above. A single whale carcass sinking to these depths becomes an oasis, feeding entire communities for decades. Bone-eating worms called ossidacs colonize the skeleton, feeding on oils locked inside. Entire ecosystems rise from a single carcass and persist until nothing remains. And yet, even with modern submersibles, what we know of this zone is fragmentary. For every species documented, scientists believe dozens remain unknown. Each dive into the midnight zone uncovers creatures never before seen by science. Animals with glowing eyes, needle-like teeth, or bodies so fragile they disintegrate the moment they're brought toward the surface. 4 kilometers down, we leave the open water and touch the bottom. This is the abyssal plain, one of the largest habitats on Earth, covering more than half of the planet's surface. And yet, it is also one of the least understood places anywhere on the planet. Here, there are no landmarks, no coral reefs, no kelp forests, no mountains or valleys carved by rivers, only a vast, featureless desert of mud stretching for thousands of kilometers in every direction. Temperatures never rise above 4 degrees Celsius. Food is extraordinarily scarce, and survival demands strategies unlike anywhere else on Earth. One adaptation is size. Many animals of the abyss are enormous compared to their shallow water relatives. Giant isopods, essentially deep-sea pill bugs, grow to the size of puppies and scuttle across the sediment. Amphipods, normally tiny shrimp-like creatures, can grow longer than a human hand. Even the colossal squid, among the largest invertebrates alive, is thought to prowl these depths. Scientists call this phenomenon deep-sea gigantism. Why it occurs remains genuinely open. Some suggest it conserves energy. Others think it provides a competitive edge against scarce predators. The truth is, we still don't know. When giants from above fall, they become rare miracles for those below. A dead whale sinking to the abyssal plain arrives as a jackpot. Within hours, scavengers gather: sharks, hagfish, amphipods. Within days, stranger creatures move in. Bone-eating worms colonize the skeleton, feeding on oils locked inside the bones. Entire ecosystems spring to life on a single carcass, lasting decades until all that remains is sediment. Other animals here survive on far less dramatic meals. The vampire squid, despite the name, is not a predator. It collects drifting particles of marine snow using long, sticky filaments, feeding on whatever the currents bring. Even in the oxygen-depleted depths, it thrives using a blood pigment with the highest oxygen affinity of any known cephalopod. Life here is slow,
in a way difficult to comprehend. Creatures grow slowly, reproduce rarely, and live for centuries. The Greenland shark, which can dwell at abyssal depths, may live more than 400 years, the longest confirmed lifespan of any vertebrate on Earth. Time itself seems to move differently here. And yet, even this vast, silent desert is not empty. Each grain of sediment hides countless microbes, recycling nutrients, sustaining a hidden food web we are only beginning to map. The abyssal plains cover more territory than all the world's forests, grasslands, and deserts combined, and they remain almost entirely unseen, unexplored, and unexplained.
Beyond the abyssal plain lies an even deeper frontier: the trenches. These are the scars of the Earth, places where one plate of the planet's crust slides beneath another, dragging the ocean floor down into depths that seem almost fictional. This is the Hadal Zone, named after Hades, the underworld. It stretches from 6,000 meters all the way to the deepest known point on Earth, nearly 11,000 meters below the surface. To put that in perspective, if you dropped Mount Everest into the Mariana Trench, its peak would still be more than a mile underwater. Pressure here can exceed 1,000 times what we experience at the surface. Temperature stays near freezing. A human body would be crushed before it reached the bottom. And yet, life not only survives here, it thrives. Among the most astonishing discoveries are the snailfish that inhabit the very bottom of the trenches. Fragile, gelatinous, with thin, translucent skin, they look too delicate to exist in such a hostile world. And yet, they are the deepest living vertebrates ever discovered. Their bodies lack rigid bones. Their cell structures are reinforced with unique molecules that keep proteins functioning under pressures that would destroy nearly any other living thing. Other inhabitants are smaller, but no less extraordinary. Amphipods swarm the trench floor in huge numbers. Recent studies found plastic fibers inside their bodies, proof that even these most remote habitats at the very bottom of the ocean are already contaminated by human waste. The deep is not as isolated as we once believed. At hydrothermal vents along trench walls, life takes yet another strange turn. Here, microbes feed not on sunlight or marine snow, but on chemicals spewing directly from the Earth's crust. Hydrogen sulfide, methane, metals dissolved in superheated water. Entire communities of worms, clams, and crabs depend on these microscopic pioneers. It is a food web built entirely on chemistry rather than sunlight, showing us that life can sustain itself in conditions utterly alien to the surface world. These discoveries fuel a larger question that scientists take seriously. If life can adapt to such extremes here on Earth, could it not exist elsewhere? Icy moons like Europa and Enceladus hide oceans beneath their frozen crusts, warmed not by sunlight, but by internal heat. To study the Hadal Zone is, in some ways, to rehearse for the discovery of extraterrestrial life. And yet, despite its importance, we know almost nothing about the trenches. Fewer people have visited the Mariana Trench,
than have stood on the surface of the moon. Each dive returns with creatures unknown to science. Translucent sea cucumbers drifting like parachutes, gelatinous masses with no clear anatomy, microbes whose metabolisms we cannot yet explain. For centuries, humans imagined the trenches as lifeless voids, silent graves beneath the sea. What we found instead is resilience, life that bends, reshapes, and reinvents itself to endure conditions beyond anything we could have designed or imagined.
For all we have seen, the deep ocean remains a world of open questions. More than 80% of the ocean is still unexplored. Every expedition into the depths returns with creatures never before documented. Transparent fish, glowing worms, jellies that break every established rule of biology. Down here, discovery is not rare, it is the norm. Even among the animals we do know, so much remains unsolved. Why do so many deep-sea creatures grow to enormous sizes? The giant isopods, the colossal squid, the amphipods the length of a human hand. Why do others turn nearly invisible or cloak themselves in ultra-black skin that absorbs almost every photon that touches it? Perhaps the greatest mystery of all is bioluminescence. Nearly 3/4 of all deep-sea life produces light. And yet the reasons vary wildly. Hunting, hiding, mating, signaling, surviving. We still cannot fully explain how many of these species evolved such complex chemical systems in the first place, or why some can glow in colors no other animal on Earth can even detect. There are deeper puzzles still, and for now, they have no explanation. Perhaps that is what makes them so powerful. They remind us that Earth still holds secrets. Secrets worth protecting. Secrets worth the effort of discovering.